I think like music is Africa, music is from Africa for me, because right from when we didn't even have instruments, people just be on like the decks or whatever and just make music, create music.
Before WIZKID would become one of the biggest global musicians, winning Artist of the Year and Song of the Year at the African Music Awards. Before he would drop hits like Energy, Fever, Come Closer, Like This, Can't Believe, Holla at Your Boy, and more. I mean, basically every song he's put out has been a smash. Before WIZKID would work with Ty Dolla $ign, Trey Songz, Wale, Akon, Major Lazer, Skepta, Beyonce, and before he would have himself a #1 song as a feature on Drake's One Dance. That song is my jam. Before WIZKID would become the first Nigerian musician to have over 1 million followers on Twitter. Now WIZKID is already a massive star, and I can acknowledge when we're late on someone for this show. Now this is one of those cases, because long before we heard One Dance, WIZKID was already performing in front of massive crowds. But it seems like he's finally getting his due shine in America. Now his new single, it already has more than 3 million views in under a week, and he's worked with some of the biggest names in music globally. But before all the fame and success, WIZKID, he was making music with his church group and hitting the studio on a daily basis, while learning from the greats around him. And in the meantime, the man was observing everything while patiently waiting for his big shot. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Michael McCrudden, walking you through the life and career of WIZKID prior to fame. Here for you, of course, on Before They Were Famous. Now we've recently covered other artists like Burna Boy, and we did an epic on Kanye West, so be sure to check those out after we do this video. Also, I got a trivia question for the super fans out there. What was WIZKID's first car? Place your guesses down below. If you get it right, I'll follow you on Instagram or Twitter. Alright, now let's get into this video. Also, please forgive me if I pronounce anything incorrectly. Now, I look up the pronunciation and I really do try my best, but my Canadian accent, it can sometimes butcher just about anything. Alright, I apologize. Let's get into this video.
Before music, what was life like in Nigeria for you?
It was crazy, man. Before music was tough, man. I come from Mujelegba, the real ghetto from Surulere.
Ayodeji Ibrahim Balogun was born on July 16, 1990 in Surulere, which is a residential and commercial area of Lagos.
Coming from that side, you can only just hope that, like you're gonna have a better life. I'll pray. Because sometimes school is not even enough, especially for the type of government we have back home.
Now WIZKID, he grew up in a household of 12 female siblings. Yeah, I said that right, 12. Now he said growing up with so many women, well, he had this to say. Learn to listen to what women go through. I also have a lot of female friends and pay attention to their stories. So a lot of my songs are inspired by the thoughts and feelings of women. But his household, it gets even more interesting. Now his mother is a Pentecostal Christian and his father practices Islam. So, he was exposed to different viewpoints from a young age, which influenced him to have an open mind.
I would never change that, because that is something that has helped me in being who I am today. And I never one time had an argument about the religion or what the kids wanted to do, because my dad would be like, yo, do whatever you want. If you want to be a Muslim, cool, go to the church. If you want to go to the mosque, go to the mosque. Like, do whatever you like.
He said that it was love that kept his parents together, but what probably opens his mind even more is that his father had 3 wives. Now look, if you can handle multiple wives and they can handle being one of multiple women, then good for you. I salute you. You're a brave soul, and you're doing it for all those out there who can't. Now, music was a big influence in WIZKID's early life as well, listening to Bob Marley and Fela Kuti, who was actually managed by Burna Boy's grandpa. Then WIZKID, he was introduced to American rappers like Master P, Snoop Dogg, and even Bow Wow. Now, I feel like Bow Wow, he doesn't get enough love in the hip-hop game. He did inspire a few. Now WIZKID, he began singing and writing his own songs under the name Lil Prince. Now The Little Prince is one of my favorite books of all time, so I'm not sure if it had anything to do with it, or maybe the artist Prince, which seems probably more likely. But Lil Prince, he was making music with a group of his church friends called the Glorious Five. Now WIZKID, he was a frequent church goer, and he attended every Sunday. But he didn't like the music that the choir was making and never wanted to be a part of it. So he called up his friends and they decided to create their own blend of gospel and hip hop. The group released an album to their church and actually made a good amount of money. Now WIZKID claims to have made 10,000 Nairas, which sounds like a lot of money, but to give you an equivalent, Well, right now it's only $28 US. But for WIZKID at the time, well, it was still a lot. But after one album, The Gospel 5, they decided to go their separate ways. Now WIZKID, he attended Ijebu Ode, a grammar school, which I won't even bother trying to pronounce again. But it has been known to have many prominent figures in politics, business, law, and music study there. The school was nicknamed the Dawn of Life, and it's one of the oldest and most reputable secondary schools in all of Nigeria. Now, the school was built with the goal of transmitting the ideas of God's enlightenment through education. Now, I feel like my school was just built to give kids something to do during the day, but this sounds way better. Fast forward the clock to 2006, and that's when Lil Prince became WIZKID. But it was when WIZKID met producer OJB Jezreel that WIZKID would see his musical dreams as a true possibility. Rest in peace, OJB. His legacy will still live on. Now, WIZKID would spend a lot of time in OJB's studio, and he actually got to witness Phase 2 and Sound Sultan record up close and personal and see the process of creating a full body of work. Now, during this time, WIZKID, he was actually mentored by rapper Nato C. Nato would help coach WIZKID when he was just 15 years old and told him about the recording process, songwriting, and rhythm. Now, for the most part, he was just hanging around and observing greatness. Now, WIZKID's parents, they weren't immediately on board with his music dreams. Now, his father told Wiz that he needed to prove his dedication by spending enough time in the studio, similar to how his father proved his dedication to his love for women by having 3 wives.
My parents, like I just had to convince them by, doing well in school, doing my shows, making sure that they see from the outside. Like people tell them, yo, did you see what your kid did, man?
Now, WIZKID, he proved himself by working behind the scenes and waiting for a shot. Now, WIZKID, he went to study for a year straight and didn't record a single song. OJB, he wanted him to learn by observing before doing. But WIZKID would freestyle songs in his head over the beats that were playing in the studio and practice his melodies. Now, finally, he was allowed to record his first song. He played it for his friends and everybody was jamming to it. But nobody respected him as a true artist because he was still just a kid. Then WIZKID, he met Osaji Osonakaho. I don't know if I said that. I probably butchered that. I'm sorry. Now, he became his manager and helped him take things to a whole nother level. WIZKID would meet artist MI when he was in Lagos, and the two became friends. But shortly afterwards, his manager had an accident and was unable to manage WIZKID for a bit. Now, WIZKID, he was feeling pretty down about things and thought his career was at a standstill. But that's when MI invited him over to hear some of the new music he was making. He threw on a beat and had WIZKID do a little freestyle just for fun, but when MI's album came out, WIZKID was surprised to hear himself as a featured artist on the song Fast Money, Fast Cars. And it was his true introduction to people as a solo artist. And from there, well, he began freestyling a lot of his songs. Shortly after that feature, while attending an after party with MI, he was hanging out in the corner and just listening to a conversation between MI and Banky W. Now, someone they called out WIZKID's name. Banky, he turned around and said, "Wait, you're WIZKID? I've been searching for you all over the place." After the meeting, Banky signed WIZKID to EME, a label he co-owned. Now, after getting signed, things went up for WIZKID. He was booked for shows constantly. He was featured on more hit songs, and he co-wrote songs for some of the biggest names in music, including Banky, and he began preparing for his debut album. But WIZKID was still attending school at first. He was at Leeds City University, where he was studying international relations before eventually dropping out after he got signed. Now, his song, Holla at Your Boy, it really made a lot of people pay attention to him when it dropped in 2010. And WIZKID, he dropped his debut album, Superstar, in 2011. Now, the album, it won the award for Best Album of the Year at the Nigerian Entertainment Awards, and it received acclaim from fans and critics alike. Now, his second album, it dropped in 2014, and it included features from Tyga, Wale, and Akon. WIZKID's first international collab was with Akon on a remix of his song, Don't Dull, but by far his biggest look in America came on Drake's album Views, when he appeared on the song One Dance. Drake had hopped on the remix of one of WIZKID's songs in the summer of 2015 that premiered on OVO Sound Radio. But One Dance, it took things to a whole nother level. One Dance was Drake's first real dip into the afrobeat scene, and WIZKID, he brought his unique style to the song. The song went #1 in 15 countries, and Drake returned the favor on Come Closer. Now, a year later, WIZKID, he signed a multi-album deal with RCA Records. Currently, WIZKID is making a name for himself on the international stage, and I have a feeling he will only keep getting bigger with time. But it was actually when he got his first car that his dad truly believed in his music, and that car was a black Honda I-VTEC. So for whoever got that right, man, you're a true WIZKID fan. I owe you a follow. As for the rest of the story, well, we're gonna wrap this one up here because this, of course, is Before They're Famous. My name's Mike McCrudden. We make all sorts of celebrity bios here for you on this channel. If you haven't subscribed already, be sure to do so now. Check out our hip hop playlist because I'm sure if there's an artist out there that you want to know how they made it, well, we got a video for you. All right, I'll see you guys in another video. Boom!